All right. There we are. Okay. Good stuff. Can everybody hear us? We're in Debucks, Belgium again, live. And I'm sat here with Roni Dover. That's an easy name. I could have remembered that one. Sorry about that. We're sat here with Roni Dover, who is the creator, and who's just showing me this thing called Digma, which is pretty neat. It's it's a plugin. It's right now it's an IntelliJ plugin, which is great, but I guess you're coming on.
Probably port to other IDs as well.
Cool. Yeah. And what's the genesis of it? Like, what's the reason you created it instead of just, you know?
I've been a developer for almost 25 years.
Uh-huh.
I started with Java. I went through a bunch of other languages, came back to Java recently.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
I love what you've done with the place.
Change the curtains. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, much less XML. I love it.
Oh yeah.
And as a developer, I was really frustrated by the fact that we only found things out after the fact. There were lots of issues. Everybody in hindsight could find them and trace them to the logs or to the traces or metrics or whatnot.
Right.
But it was only after the fact.
Yeah.
And I saw this wealth of data in observability sources that's so easy to get. But developers were not using that because it's a bit complicated and unwieldy.
Okay. So you wanted you wanted to reduce the time it took to find the source of a given.
Yeah,
Hang up or
you can
issue or
start
whatever.
with the very basic. Like I remember I had a discussion with a developer and he wrote this amazing extension to the data access layer. And we found out 3 weeks later that it was never used. And I asked him, like, did you check? And he said, how? so so this is kind of where it kind of dawned on me that there is this disconnect between the code runtime and developers. And like our only bridge is maybe debugging and testing in some cases,
Yeah.
but it's not a perfect bridge.
I
So
see.
I wanted to see how we can actually, leverage open telemetry and other things that are other kind of parts of the organizations are benefiting from, like DevOps and SREs. Like why shouldn't developers do this?
And it's the same pipeline. It's the same if we're familiar with open telemetry, and I think a lot of us are, then it won't feel untowards or foreign to like repurpose that output, that data. Okay, so in theory, it's a plugin that knows about open telemetry and it can instrument your app.
Mhm.
In practice, it's a lot more. I guess we should just try it out, right? So, right, a little bit. I have one rabbit up my sleeve, which is that we just installed the plugin
Mhm.
before we started the live stream. And good thing too, because on the conference Wi-Fi here, it took a minute. It's doing a lot of really enterprise-y kind of stuff, but only for development, right? So as a result, I'm gonna start sharing my screen here. Okay, entire screen.
And by the way, the reason it took some time is because we made a decision not to start off as a SaaS product,
Right. Oh,
because developers didn't want us to take information, and rightly so, because they didn't know which org policies they'll be violating and PII and all of that.
right.
So essentially, the entire analysis engine is running locally on your laptop.
It is a
Uh,
non-trivial. I think you can all see that now, but we did this 5 minutes ago, and it's a distributed system. It's an actual
yeah,
pipeline for data.
yeah. And then later you can also run it as a Helm farm somewhere and not on your laptop,
Uh-huh.
and take information from multiple environments into it. But if you want to experiment and see what it can provide, it's just a very quick way to get up and running, assuming you're not on the Wi-Fi from the conference.
Right. Yeah. No, don't be on the conference Wi-Fi. It's .NET.
Yes. So it has .NET, it has Python services. The plugin is in Kotlin and Java developed. And it's basically we took the right or different languages for different parts of it to
Sure.
implement.
Nice. Okay, very cool. We live in an age of miracles. .NET running on Linux on my Mac. That's a wonderful thing. All right, so we have now. Let's. I guess we just built something, right? So I'm gonna go here and just see what I can do. I'm gonna get myself into some trouble. Start that Spring.io. Maven 3.2.0. Feed back. I'm gonna use this. I use
All right.
Postgres.
You're gonna be the first one.
Dev tools. Web. Data JDBC.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's pretty stock standard stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you have anything special with GraphQL you can give me?
Uh,
Well, or should I bother with that?
no, not specifically.
Okay, we will hit
Yeah.
generate. And so okay, can everybody still see my friend here? Let me go make sure. What's this. There's a Slack community, which is always good to know. Oh yeah,
It's up
they
there.
can't see. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I generated the project, didn't I? Fail feedback.zip. That's gonna unzip and open. It's gonna open up the code in IntelliJ, which is an IDE that I've heard is popular with the kids. The youth. Okay. I guess we're done. Yeah, okay, feedback. So I don't know. Like, first of all, how do like you go to the plugins? Let's make sure we start. Like, let's just pretend. Okay,
Mhm.
pretend we haven't done anything yet. Plugins.
Yep.
I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna search Digma. There you go. And it's this thing right here. Digma continuous feedback. 6,000 downloads already. Good stuff. Well done. Lots of positive rankings. So it's an IDE plugin for analyzing code runtime data. It enables rapid access, rapid development in complex projects by linting and detecting issues as they appear, highlighting possible risks in code, and providing code change analysis and context. I guess that's the live stream. I could have just stopped right there. We could be done right now, but no, we're gonna keep going. But that's awesome. That's that. Okay, so gives me error hotspots, bottlenecks and concurrency, query anti-patterns, performance trends, etc. So it's one thing to have the instrumentation in your code. It's quite another to know how to funnel that back into actionable,
Exactly.
feedback. So this will do that. It helps you cut out the navel gazing that is required when you look at logs and things like that, and metrics and so on. Okay, so we got an application. As always, I always start with my, I've got this. Did I think I screwed this up, didn't I? Yeah, I screwed it up. Back to the drawing board. Hold on. Let's see here.
Help to have some kind of meat to the application, even if it's
We will.
uh,
We will get that. So did I? Yeah, this one. And I also want test containers.
nice.
And there we go. So now we hit generate. And I've got this here. What's that? Open this. Okay. Good. 3. Uh-oh. I'm down to my last 64%. I won't last another 48 hours.
I think you're good.
Okay.
This an M1?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So you're good.
only 48 hours or so left, and then I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna have to start looking for power. Um, okay, so basically, test feedback application, but we got a Postgres image, right? Docker compose, sorry, Docker and test containers. I'm gonna tell Spring Boot not to restart that. Um, Public static void main from my main code. I'll restart this, and now we go back here, and let's suppose I've got an actual service, right? Doing something interesting. Whoa, what is all that stuff?
So if you scroll up, you can see kind of what kind of automatically happened. So because you install Digma, you have this nice toggle. You can do it if you open the bat menu on the right
Oh,
side.
yeah, what does Digma mean?
Yeah, so you can kind of reduce this, click on configure because we want to finish the configuration. We can do that. And then this is just getting started. So click on finish and you're done. Awesome. Now there's a hamburger menu next to the local, which is your environment right now. So
This
if
one?
if you click it, you can see the observability
Oh,
toggle. And right now it's on. And what that means is that right now, as you run your application, Digma will start collecting information about it. So as you trigger API calls and do other interesting things, we'll start seeing the result of the analysis appear here.
okay. Let me just quickly build something that does a thing. I don't know why, but something. Uh, List of code repository. You use the pet clinic, which I'm starting to think in retrospect was probably the better example. But I just wanted to get something out there, so we'll just
Yeah.
start simple. Customer HTTP control private customer repository. Okay. Mapping customer selection. Yo, this dot repository final. Okay. Okay. And there you go. So there's that. And what's some SQL data? Okay, source and schema.sql. Create table if not exists. Customer. Okay, and then some data. Delete. Hello. Customer. Insert into customer. Name. Oh no. Name. Values. Uh, Ronnie. I don't know. Who else?
Um,
Uh,
let's go
Stefan.
for sure.
There. That's three. That's three's a crowd. Three's company. Okay, so
Work.
on it always. Command Shift F9 to reload the application. So that's gonna be interesting. Actually, if you're doing a Java agent, but I'm using dev tools to do reloads, does it blend? Does it still get instrumented if I do a reload live? Because I did a reload, I didn't restart it, right? So because I didn't restart it, it'll only
That's
two
a good
seconds.
question.
Hmm.
I guess we'll find out if it works well with those.
No static. Hmm, Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Okay. This I've seen this before. This not necessarily. This could just be me. Okay, so loading the Postgres instance.
Yep.
Okay, that worked.
Yep.
Now let's try.
Now, if you go even before you did that, you'll notice it's kind of small because of the DPI settings, I guess. But you have this little telescope icon on the left-hand side.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Oh
you
wow.
see this dot next to it. That means that we just recorded new data.
Uh-huh.
And this is kind of something that we already picked up on. Like there's not a lot of information yet because
Yeah.
it's just one run. But if you go in there, and you click on the trace button
Where's the trace button, my friend?
on the right
Oh
side.
yeah.
Yeah, so we can see exactly what just happened. So we can see you had the select. We can see how much the select took, and all of this happened. I just want to emphasize without adding anything to your code because it's
I didn't even add the actuator. This is all just
exactly this is
retroactive.
happening automatically, and you can get the specific SQL query. So if you click on tags, you can actually see like the DB statement that was being executed.
How did you get access to all this?
And this is just done. We're using the great work done by the OTel team. What we found out is that developers were kind of intimidated by OTel because it sounds very DevOpsy and complex.
Mhm.
So we wanted to streamline it so that you can use it right away with nothing basically except adding a top up. So
That's freaking amazing. Okay, now I still the we'll come back to this, but I gotta like
Cool.
satisfy myself that it like if I reload
uh,
the code, it'll work. I'm just very curious.
yeah, it's interesting whether does it spawn a new process?
No, just restarts. It restarts. It creates the. It's actually it's the same JVM actually. It just throws away Spring, recreates the application
So
context.
the question is if we started the process with agent and then
It should still be there, right? It's the same JVM process, right?
there, then you can see it.
Okay, so let's try it. Like, how do I?
So yeah, so you just reloaded. So let's just click here again and see when is the last time we got.
Well, actually, we can try this. We can say customers
Okay.
ID. Did you hear that, everyone? That poor fella sneezed. Oh, it's optional. I feel like it's optional, but it is. Okay, so now it'll be 7, I guess. But did I fail to put the ID annotation? Okay. Oh, that's because the IDs have changed. There you go, 10.
Okay.
So that's working now. With the proofs in the pudding. Does this plugin
Yeah. So let's.
know what we just
You
did?
can either go through here. So just go to the home button next to local.
Oh,
There's a home button.
thank you.
So you can go, let's say, to the endpoints, and yeah, you can see your
Hey,
new endpoint, and you can click here, and then now you can,
wow. Oh, that's so good.
and you can see the exception that you got here.
Right. Amazing.
But if you scroll up a little bit on the view here,
Okay. Where here?
uh,
Where?
Yeah. Okay.
Show me where. Tell me where to
Yeah,
go.
exactly. So
Here.
just scroll back to go click on the back button.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah,
Home.
click here and then go to this function again, the get customers by ID.
Okay.
Exactly. And now can you click on the target button over there?
There. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Now you can see
wow.
exactly where it is in the code.
So I
You can go either from the code and see it or from just and then you can see the error that you just received. And if you click on it, you can kind of see the stack trace, get kind of information about what exactly happened.
and you've preserved the exact
Yeah.
exception and everything. This is when I tried to call the thing with the ID that didn't exist because I had deleted the data. Oh, that's amazing. That's freaking amazing. Look at that. Okay, so slow endpoint. Let's see.
It's relative because we only have two endpoints to compare to.
And I've only made 10 requests, but yeah,
Yeah.
render error. Look at that.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome. Trace. And I'm really just blown away by how deep the awareness seems to go. Like if I were to bring in RabbitMQ and Kafka and all this
Yes,
stuff,
all of these are already supported because they support OTel out of the box.
and is that using the micrometer stuff or like how does it?
So you can set like how you wish to use it. Micrometer stuff requires a few more dependencies.
Mhm.
It's not using an agent, but it's better for production, maybe environment. So if you go to the settings page for a plugin, so just go to IntelliJ settings
Yeah.
and search for Digma and click on the Digma plugin. So you see here you have the Spring Boot observability mode. It's the last option, the one for the last.
Right.
So it either auto or
Oh
micrometer.
wow.
If you set micrometer, it will ask you to add a couple of dependencies and will be it's just it's not as magical for good and for bad, but we fully support that as well.
It's amazing. So if you've already made the investment of like using actuator, which you want to do, you want to use a micrometer for your production stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, then you might as well have the unified funnel of data here, and
Exactly.
this will just work with that as well,
And then
transparently.
you can install Digma. Right now it's running locally. You can install Digma anywhere. Like it's just a Kubernetes Helm file.
Okay.
And then you can direct. It's an auto receiver. So if you're using Datadog or using any other observability
Just like piping it to that.
supports OTel, you can just set it as the exporter address, and eventually you'll start seeing different environments that you can define here. So if you go to if you click on the telescope icon
Telescope.
again, so you see here I have the local environment, but you can click on the plus sign, and then you can give it a name. So let's say it's CI or something. And now it's either a local environment or a CI prod environment. The latter option will ask you to kind of walk you through the steps of like what it means, and that requires email registration. But if you click the Digma environment, then we'll just create a new scope for you, and then you can kind of add it to the active run config and start accumulating information there. So it's just a matter of adding an environment variable, and everything gets tagged with that environment.
Well, this is too good to be true. Like, well, it's really good, really great visibility. It's instantaneous, even with the conference Wi-Fi here being a little slow. It was really, really fast. So, what's the catch? Like, how do you make money off this? How do we get you to the point where you're happy to have done all this work for us?
So our vision was that developers shouldn't pay money for this. Developers don't have budgets. They shouldn't pay for dev tools. If at a certain point of time you find that it's bringing you a lot of value and want to tie it into your CI and production and install it into your organization,
Yeah,
you're probably going to talk to your DevOps folks and your IT folks or whatnot.
right.
And that's where it becomes an organizational concern. And that's where they can talk to us about kind of pricing. And we're a dev tool. We're not a Datadog. So our pricing
That's awesome.
is very modest.
I'm really grateful for this. Where do people go to learn more?
So just our website on Digma AI has video and a
Digma.ai.
lot of information. We just finished our product hunt launch, so got great reviews and rapport over there.
Wow.
And you can get Digma right from here on the right side, or
Yeah.
you can actually.
I'm in Europe, so I have to accept the cookies. Get Digma right there on the right. Yeah, okay. That's so
That's it.
cool. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if there's any questions. And yeah. Ah, look at that. People are excited. Great. All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks. Great meeting you.
Thanks, everybody. See you around in DevOps.
Bye bye.